Guys, welcome back to Everyday Struggle in the Dusk at Academics. Wayno here. It's Tuesday. Well, because Wayno started laughing at you while I was talking.
I just know I've been looking at Act this morning. Like he strikes me as
pause. I'm gonna just throw that in.
You can pause it. But Act strikes me as like a construction worker or a carpenter. Like if he didn't do, I would think that Act is a carpenter. He look like he does carpentry.
Except he has none of those skills, I'm sure.
I've never seen a fucking carpenter. Like,
I did carpentry before in high school, but I got kicked out.
Oh yeah, I took one of those classes too. That's a good skill to have. It's good to be able to build things.
Yeah, I'm trash at building shit.
It's good to be able to pay somebody to build the shit. The fuck y'all talking about, man? Listen, man. What's good with y'all, man?
Good morning.
Yo, what happened to the snowstorm that amped up yesterday, man? Ain't nothing happened. Yo, the weatherman be capping, bro. The weatherman is the #1 capper in the United States.
Yo, there was snow upstate though. I saw it. It's real. It just didn't make it down here. Yeah, upstate.
Yeah, but if you watch the weather, they'll be like, yo, it's an avalanche. Shit's gonna be crazy.
Yo, you know what? Kids are getting a lot of days off school these days. We never got snow days.
Yeah,
the only person the best weatherman in the United States is Jim Jones. Let's keep it on. Like, Jim Jones actually give you some, like, yo, don't wear your good shoes today. Like, yo, go to the store early. Tells you realistic advice.
He gives you real assessments.
Because the real weatherman is gonna be like, yo, you're gonna get like 15 inches of snow. Liar.
Jim Jones, where are you when we need you, man?
No.
All right, let's get into the show. Yo, it's hard getting back into the schedule, by the way, after 2 weeks away.
Right.
Slept through my alarm today. I felt like academics.
Oh,
that was
man.
rough. Jumped up at 7 in a panic. But we're here.
We here.
Let's get into
you were late today.
I was
yo,
late.
Mark one late for the desk.
One late out of like 2.5 years.
I walked by here and I was like, where's she at?
yeah, I just completely slept through. So last night, Offset hopped on Twitter to share some thoughts. I don't know what prompted this, but he said, sorry, but hip hop is black culture. Don't speak or give game if you don't have black culture. He went on to say how proud he is of seeing the hip hop grow. He said, you know, don't make rules on what goes on in hip hop when you don't know its history, its pain. We're the biggest genre in the world off struggle and hustle. I'm proud of my people. Sorry, but not sorry. It took a lot for us to get here. So he capped this off with the hashtag Black Excellence. What do you think about this? Don't make rules on what goes on in hip hop when you don't know its history or pain.
What's up, academics?
I kind of get what Offset's saying. And let's be clear, he's talking to Russ.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Russ did an interview with was it Rap Radar, and basically, you know, like Russ as he speaks, he's like kicking a lot of game. Sometimes it's really good, but like, you know, sometimes I think there's a very fine line between how Russ speaks and gets certain points across to where some people might be like, yeah, we can't relate to that, bro. Like, you're white. Like, you know, like some of the things that you're telling artists not to do and to do.
Well, what did he say? Because we're going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about him sort of saying we should give some more credit to the legends. But what do you think triggered Offset's response?
Now, I don't necessarily know what exactly Russ said, but that's the only thing of recent times. Like, think about the people who are white, who comment on hip hop, that you may think this could apply to. For anyone, Eminem ain't making no fucking interviews. He's not like out here like, yo, let me give y'all a game on how to like get it in. The only two white people I know would be really talking about hip hop as much, or three, is Peter Rosenberg, Russ, and Adam 22. Maybe a couple other niggas, but I don't know them niggas. Them niggas not worthy. Anyway, I think he's talking about Russ, and Russ has a way of like, you know, kind of like explaining his plight in the game, but also explaining what other young artists are doing wrong. Whether it's like, yo, y'all are doing too much with jewelry or this, that, and third. And, you know, I think Offset's just putting it into perspective to say, hey, listen, you can't really speak on a culture where it's more than just business. Like, it's not niggas just making business moves to get to the top. It's like some of these things, like, we come from a past of a lot of pain and hurt, and we come from backgrounds where, yeah, we might go do some dumb shit before we get it right. Like, you can't just be up there, like, kind of thumbing your nose at us or whatever and think you're kicking game about a culture where you haven't experienced some of the like some of the downfalls and some of the oppressions that we have. So I understand why he's saying that, because trust me, like, if you watch this interview, and I watched some of it, and I love watching all Russ interviews because he does kick a lot of game, but in between certain things he says, you could feel like, hey, he's kind of talking down.
I didn't really think that. I mean, I didn't see the whole Russ interview. I saw a few clips, but like the clips that I saw, I didn't see Russ like speaking any ill, you know what I mean, or something that people would be mad about. And I be thinking that, like, well, not thinking, Offset has always been direct. First off, I love Offset. Gotta say that. I think that he don't get enough credit as he should just for speaking on a lot of different issues. You know, Offset, he's very right. Like, he's very right, but I think that the biggest confusion comes in with everything he said when we look at hip-hop as a business. You know what I mean? Like, when we look at hip-hop as a business, the fucked up thing about it, Offset, is that we don't run our business. You know what I mean? That's the toughest thing about it. It's like, I wish that, you know, more artists was in a better position, you know, to educate up-and-coming artists or up-and-coming entrepreneurs, but because we don't run our business, it leaves, like, it leaves an open door for so many people to comment on our shit. But he's definitely right. This is our culture. This is our thing. And you won't understand it unless you really in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said something about Offset, just for him to be, he's nominated for a Grammy this year, isn't he?
I believe so.
Well,
I believe.
Yeah, he's nominated for Clout. And I said, I was like, yo, I wrote it on your page. I'm like, yo, this nigga was just in jail like a couple years ago. Like, when the Migos first came out, we didn't even know what Offset looked like. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that that's so much of an accomplishment, you know, within that. But he, like, so many people was just like, so what? He's always been dope. It's not just about him being dope. And I think that's the part where people get it misconstrued. Like, he comes from a lot of hardship, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think it's like, you know, mutually exclusive. Like, well, it's both things could be right. Yeah. Like, you know, Russ, to me, he speaks a lot of truths, but I could understand someone like Offset saying, hey, you know, like, if you aren't from this culture and have gone through certain things, like, kind of gauge how you're kicking game or talking down. I don't think Russ ever really means to talk down, but, you know, I was even hearing him describe what humble is, and he resents that. He says, yo, he don't like the term humble because humble is like accepting a lower, it's like dimming your light to make others feel okay, and he's not with that.
Yeah,
you get me?
I feel him on that because I don't like the word humble in a lot of instances either. I feel like the word humble is made to keep a lot of people in line. It's like as soon as you're feeling good about yourself, people say, oh, don't celebrate too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be humble. Nah, I don't need to tone down who I am so you can feel comfortable about who you are.
Yeah, but Offset's right in terms of, like, if you listen to Russ kick game to, like, in terms of, yo, this is how I got on, or this is how y'all young artists should move. Go do this on TuneCore. Do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Yeah. He does sometimes he doesn't take into account, like, people's circumstances from certain communities.
Yeah, I mean,
and those things matter. That's the reason why, like, you can't shit on a kid that takes a deal that might be fucked up if he's really from a fucked up situation. Now, you could call him a dummy later. You know, like, I think that's where it is. It's like, if you call a kid a dummy, but like, he's so broke, he's just trying to get on. Right. You don't understand his circumstances. You never been in those circumstances. So so you had the opportunity to say, nah, I'm about to sign right now.
All right, but
he's not the only artist to say something like that, too, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, Russ, he always does go on to say that he knows he's like a visitor in hip-hop, too. Like, but nobody don't say that about Chance the Rapper. You know what I mean? Like, Chance the Rapper says shit about people taking deals.
This is the conversation you guys had. I believe it was after his Breakfast Club interview. Yeah. The same thing. Well, let's see. Sure, Russ maybe meant no offense, but maybe these are conversations he'll eventually have with people like Offset behind the scenes. Yeah. We'll see.
No, I think we need to have these like in front of the scenes, because, like, I've seen Russ speak to a lot of media people, but, like, I think I would rather him start interacting with his own peers.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure, like, maybe he'll see these Offset tweets, but I wonder if people will have that conversation with him face to face, in not a disrespectful way. You know, and I'm sure it will go a longer way than him just seeing it on Twitter. But I don't know.
All right.
So elsewhere in that interview he did with the Rap Radar podcast, he also went on to explain why he feels like people like Nicki Minaj, T-Pain, DMX, and Lil Wayne, like, don't get their flowers, and they should.
I just think it's insane. I think it's insane, the disrespect and the dismissiveness that people have, because we all know if DMX, Lil Wayne, Nicki, and T-Pain passed away today, it would fuck the world up. And so it's like, why can't you have that level of respect while they're here? I understand you may not like certain things they're saying, but, like, you can't just dismiss a whole career.
Do you guys feel like these artists get dismissed?
Absolutely. I mean, like, and I'll just say, like, hip hop culture, black culture. We the only people that kick people when they down. We the only person that people make fun of you for trying. People make fun of you for like falling off or whatever they think. Like, I look at it like this. When I look at like a Lil Wayne, and not so much a Nicki, but a Lil Wayne or a DMX, I think about like kind of how like LeBron James is, right? For him to been so good for so long, you know how hard it is. Like everybody bad people diss the Carter 5, like yo, that shit ain't Carter 3, it ain't Carter 2. Okay, but you know how hard it is to stay that good for that long.
Right.
And like as soon as somebody has a little limp in their step, is oh nah, they not as good as they used to be. Get them niggas up out of here, cause it's a joke. Like we just love the joke on everything, and I think that's why we are taking as jokes most times. You know?
I actually disagree, and this is one of the few times you'll get me to disagree with like some of the things Russ says. I think most of these people get appreciated. Shit, like I've seen mad like decade list or like all-time list. I think Wayne is getting his flowers. I think Carter 5 is him getting his flowers. Like to me, I think Wayne retired.
After that album?
No, I think listen, Wayne had put out music for a good 6 years.
Oh, okay.
And people showed out. And people showed out for that Carter 5. People was still around with him even though we thought it was a detox situation where we weren't gonna get Carter 5. I think Wayne gets his flowers and he's at a space now that we understand that he's a legend. He's Kobe, if we want to put it in basketball terms. If you want to say Drake is LeBron, he's Kobe. He's the generation before's, like, that's the guy, right? And I do think he gets his flowers.
So what do T-Pain get? Because people ain't giving T-Pain.
Perfect.
Come on.
That's the only person. And by the way, I do
No,
think...
Nicki too. Don't do that, academics.
Hold on, let me explain.
Nicki too.
Let me explain. I think DMX gets his flowers as well. I think with
For
DMX...
music?
Well,
For
you
music?
got to realize this couple generations removed since this
Absolutely,
peak.
but still...
I do think the culture really cares about his health and his well-being. And
They do, but they also make all types of jokes. Like running memes, think about how memes are. Yo, memes run long.
Everybody
But that's the thing,
jokes, though.
I feel like no one can get away from that. That's the
Everybody,
thing.
but like I would say he doesn't get his flowers if we're discussing the time period where his music dominated and we are leaving him out, or he's not as really bigged up in that conversation.
But do you see the difference in do you see the difference in rock and roll, where let me not act like I know shit about rock and roll like that, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen no young rock and roll nigga diss Kiss or diss Black Sabbath or say that they
Who
fell
does
off.
DMX?
You said who dissed DMX?
Yeah.
Just social media, like people on social media.
But if we're opening it up to social media, then is it specific to these artists? So it's everyone.
Yo,
Social
they roast
media
LeBron
does
every night. That's basketball.
Social media does roast LeBron, but I'm talking about the people who make this shit what it is. Our fans, right or wrong. Fans are on social media.
But which fans, though? The same fans who try to troll rappers in real life.
I mean, fans is different now.
You know what I mean? I feel like the internet
Listen,
and real life are so different,
I'm just
though.
saying, when I say, remember how I said, like, all right, with Drake, right? Like, it's gonna be a day when when young kids is like Drake, I don't fucking listen to Drake. Like, it's gonna be a day when that happens, and then
He's gonna have the Jordan on the Wizards moment.
But what I'm saying is a father, a dude that's 20-something years now that'll have a 10-year-old son, and when he's 30 and starts to play some Drake shit, he gonna be like, man, Drake, what? That's how it usually goes. Like today, if you play the average kid, DMX, they gonna be like, man, I don't listen to that shit. That's the shit my mom's was listening to.
Yeah, but everybody's gonna have their different. I think I would probably say there's a disrespect or a lack of, like, quote unquote, giving someone their flowers. If, like, even though, again, I just think wrong place, wrong time with the Drake and the Camp Flogna incident. But like, if DMX went on stage, like, he's not getting booed. Like he does tours every year, and his audience that has rolled with them and loved them for decades, despite his jail stints, despite his rehab, like, situations where he checks himself in, they still rock with him. So I do think he gets it. Like, no, of course, like, I do think we could appreciate the past a little bit more in general. Only person on this list I would say is T-Pain. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me explain the Nicki thing. Nicki ain't really getting her roses right now because Nicki's still competing for MVP. And the moment she bows out of that, like, yo, I'm going to just accept my legend card and I'm good, she will. I 100% guarantee you. Wayne has accepted that. Wayne ain't trying to compete. Nicki's trying to compete with the next hot bitch, the next hot nigga. Let's be honest. And when you're doing that, at a certain point, they hit you with the Kobe on your last year. Bro, you kind of fell off. You're shooting 9 for 30. You feel me?
So he just got to go for shoot 60 and get 60.
But the moment, I'm telling you, the moment like she just kind of falls back, but I don't think Nicki wants to do that right now. She still wants to compete. So I do think everybody gets that legend pass. The only person, and that's why I got to get to T-Pain. T-Pain and how he's inspired and influenced and what he's done with auto-tune, even way better than all these niggas who abuse auto-tune now. Like, when them niggas get on a mic and they get on an interview and they start talking about influences or whatever, his name is never mentioned. You don't really get his flowers for that.
Right.
And you know, I think his discography is praised because you see, like, even
But people like Tory Lanez, exactly.
Tory?
It's not everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's,
I mean,
yeah.
nah, I give
But
that.
every nigga who's in the game right now who's bellowing and sound like a fucking
bartenders.
goat.
And they're saying
off
it's the new T-Pain after
Bartenders
All
the
of
would
them-
not be bartenders without T-Pain. Like, for real, like,
So the bartenders need to have a fucking appreciation. But in large and in part, I just believe he's the only one that doesn't get his props for his influence. I believe, let me tell you, like, when people say, like, Nicki doesn't get her roses or flowers, like, my nigga, I've been seeing Nicki getting the same, like, she's been the only chick that run the last decade. She's the only black female rapper who did blah, blah. The thing is that we're confusing that with people judging her now. Like people think that it's disrespect for someone to actually, she ran the last decade.
Yeah, no, that's a good
Somebody
point.
said, oh, she might be number 2 now. Oh my God, y'all disrespecting the queen.
Right.
What the fuck? She's a legend.
I guess.
Everybody else ain't on the
Okay.
circuit except Nicki still.
All right.
Trust me.
That's a very good point, academics. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, academic.
So I guess let's keep it in Atlanta for a minute. Today's Big Facts, or VS, courtesy of Lil Baby. Take a look.
Yeah, Atlanta like a home for a lot of stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? So like if you can get the whole Atlanta on you, then you can kind of get the whole United States, cause like everybody coming to Atlanta, they go to little clubs, they playing your records, then you can kind of like Atlanta one of those spots right now. So if you can get the whole Atlanta, like you can kind of go right now.
All right, Big Facts of VS. If you get the whole of Atlanta, you can pretty much get the whole United States.
I say kind of 50-50 on this one. I say big facts, but a little bit of BS in there. Only because the only thing that Atlanta lacks is like media. You know what I mean? I think that's the only place that they lack. And I know that they're trying to build their own shit going on, because for them to run music the way they run music, they still got to come to New York and they still got to go to LA to do all the biggest interviews and shit. So that's the only thing.
so?
Yeah, I mean, where's he at right there? He's on Power 105 saying that. He's not, I'm just, like,
This interview probably only got 50,000 views.
I'm not
his
saying if
music
it
is crazy.
has 50,000 views or not, academics. I'm just saying it's like, we don't see DJ Greg Street interviews. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of, new up-and-coming Atlanta media personalities in the game that's doing their thing, but they don't get the same coverage that even we get or Breakfast Club gets. And I think like that's the only thing they lacking. I mean, you see what Tyler Perry just built, the biggest film studio in the country there. I think like they're doing great things from music to film, but I think on media coverage, that's the only thing they lack.
Yeah, with the advent of social media, I don't even think that's one of the things that is as important anymore. Like,
It matters.
no, it does matter. It matters in branding someone who's gonna be a superstar, right? Like Lil Baby, he's about to be a superstar. I get it, but this is why I'm gonna say big facts to what he's saying. The record I love out in New York, that 5-year foreign record, Big Drip. I feel like if that record starts circulating in the strip clubs in Atlanta, fuck all the other shit. I feel like that hits the United States quicker than if it's circulating in New York, it hits the United States quicker.
Right.
Because of that, and I don't know exactly what he was getting at, but that's how I'm interpreting it. If you get lit in Atlanta, you get lit in the rest of the states.
Okay, versus any other city.
Versus
Because do
any
you feel
other
like there are
place.
any other artists who are there who have a big fan base already in Atlanta that you guys know that maybe are not breaking into mainstream? Like, does it happen almost every time?
I mean, they always got a new one I feel like Atlanta always produces they have a new baby every year. You know what I mean? Every year we find out about a new kid that has it there that ends up coming up here. Like when I went to Atlanta for Super Bowl weekend,
Lil Keed is a
Lil
perfect
Keed,
example.
that was the first, the name I was about to bring up. I asked my man, I was like, yo, who's the hottest kid out here? He's like, yo, Lil Keed. Like, he's the next one. And then you see him take off from there. New York is a little different. Like, it's a lot of next ones here, but you could have here and not have anywhere else.
And even to the point that I'm even making with that, right? I've never seen a major shit. I was even trying to get from the stakes. Like, I haven't seen a major Lil Key like interview, right? But he dropped the project to like 20-some thousand. You get me? Like, his music is like, again, you might not hear it on rotation in radio, but you hear it in the streets, you hear it in the clubs. It's pretty much like moving around the States. I gotta say, that's what he's talking about. Like, if you could come out, get lit in Atlanta, your music is circulating around the country, you do 20-some thousand before people even know your face and your personality. By the time you get to, this is Angie? Is this Angie?
Most likely.
Yeah, it is Angie. By the time you get to Angie, you're now branding yourself. And nowadays, like, the music and you just using social media goes much quicker than that. You're gonna get, like, Lil Keita's gonna get here 6 months later.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if they have their Angie there or they have their everyday struggle there. Like, that's the only thing they like there is media coverage.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do think there's a double-edged sword with that, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've always kind of wondered and thought, like, I've always said to everybody, there's an East Coast bias when it comes to media. But I also think the way how Atlanta niggas talk, I don't know if we want media down there, bro. Like,
What you mean?
what I mean is that like the way how our
that's crazy,
accents,
yeah.
and I'm serious.
Yeah.
And the way how we
So basically what you
communicate.
say is that niggas in Atlanta can't articulate themselves.
Bro, if they sound like Lil Baby and
What if
Young
they sound
Thug-
like T.I. though?
That's good. I would like to see what the Atlanta media hub outlet, like, what's their sound? Because if they're slurring like these niggas,
Everybody in
bro.
Atlanta, and I mean, I've met like different personalities in Atlanta. Everybody don't talk like that, man. Like, that's like New York. It's a bunch of niggas in New York you can't understand. What you ever listen to a nigga from New York, you be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, exactly.
You're right about that.
Come
You're
on.
right about that.
Come on, man. Saying they can't.
No, but I do think that people have like a little bias against Southern accents.
Absolutely.
Like, especially in speaking. For whatever reason, in music, it sounds great. But like, once they start speaking, it's like, you either think they're slow or incoherent.
Yo, you know who I would love
Still.
to see? It start a podcast like Boosie, yo.
Oh my God.
Boosie? Like, get Boosie talking to...
Boosie and Black Youngster.
not Youngster, Boosie. Youngster still got his time to be the artist, but Boosie started a podcast.
Boosie a little bit too wild, though. Boosie on Instagram Live, like, he about to get banned on the gram.
Let's see, could be coming soon. A couple new albums we want to run through. We're going to start with The Game. So we had him on our live episode at ComplexCon. He confirmed that Born to Rap was going to be his final album. Still don't know if I believe him, but this is album number 9, 24 songs. A lot of features on here: Nipsey, 21, Chris Brown, Bryson Tiller, Miguel, and a lot more. So Game and Dom Kennedy are executive producers on the album, follow-up to his 2016 project, 1992. What do you guys think about this as Game's alleged final album?
Yo, I didn't know that Dom Kennedy. I was wondering why Dom Kennedy was on here so much, but I didn't know that Dom Kennedy was EPing his joint. But I think like that goes into a lot of beat selection. You know what I mean? Dom Kennedy has always been great with picking beats. Like listening to this album, I'm not gonna lie, it took me like 2 days to get through the whole thing because it's 25 tracks. You know, not as receptive anymore. And then not only is it 25 tracks, Game did not go away from making 5-minute songs and 4-minute songs. You know, he didn't go to any new formats. But I think it was like exactly kind of what I expected from Game. You know, I don't know if it's his last album because every artist says
I don't believe it.
Every artist has an album that they call their last album, right? But this just showed me that, you know, like me and Ak always go back and forth about, you know, West Coast lyricists and shit, and like Game is top tier. Like, you know, he still can rap just as good as he did 15 years ago, the first time we heard him, etc. But like I really enjoyed this album. I felt like he addressed a lot of things that I wanted to know about, like his relationship with his brother. Because everybody, like, I haven't seen him and Big Face, that's his name, right? Big Face. I haven't seen him and him together in years, and he has a record addressing that. Just certain shit he says about his son, about, like, you know, when you feeling down, look at what your dad created. Like he said, walk around his mansion and look around, like, look at what your dad created for you. Like, it's just so many things on here that's, like, really confessional from him that makes me feel like it's his last album.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. I ain't gonna lie. I really enjoyed it.
All right, Ak, you agree?
You hit the nail on the head with the last thing. I usually, and I said to The Game when we did have him on the ComplexCon live episode, and I was like, yeah, this is usually the cap. I'm gonna lie to you. This is my last album, but a lot of the songs felt a recap vibe of his career. Right. Like, yo, it's been 15 years. I did this, I did that. Like, what more could I do? The only thing I disagree with him on, and he said on the live episode, he said rap wasn't his passion. His last project dropped in 2016. This is 25 fucking tracks on this project. The music, this album's more musical, and maybe that's credit to Dom Kennedy. But if you start the album off, Ed Sheeran is on the intro and the outro. It was an attempt by the game. You know, if you follow the game's career, especially post G-Unit, one of the knocks against the game is that, yo, nigga could rap. Even before G-Unit, nigga could rap. Could he make songs? Right? And then when, of course, it worked well for the documentary, The Doctor's Advocate, he pulled it together again too. Absolutely. But then the album after, I believe it was LAX, you know, people were like, okay, like, could he really do this? This was one of the most musical albums he's had. Yeah. Like, in terms of, like, even some of the instruments you're hearing, like, like, and one thing you have to give him credit for is that, unapologetically, like most great West Coast lyricists, when you start their album, whether you listen to, and I'll say even beyond lyricists, West Coast artists, whether listen to Kendrick or even to YG, when you hit track 1, by the time you get to track 3, you feel like you somewhere in California.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Like, it's bringing you back. Like, and you know the game, he's sitting here with the low riders, the 6'4" pots, all of that. And just going through it, I had to say, because he was so personal, because he was addressing things that it felt that he had neglected to address before, it felt like maybe at some point, I don't know if he went into the album thinking that, but at some point he's like, yo, I'm gonna wrap this up. Do I really believe this is his last album? No. This album, the game doesn't have a whack album to me. This might be a top 3.
Okay.
And we did ask him about his top 3.
Yeah. I don't remember how he ranked it.
I think Jesus Piece was in there.
Jesus Piece was 3, Doctor's Advocate, and documentary. Yeah. This, and you got to keep in mind, the documentary 2.5, that's just hard. Yeah. But I do think this is one of the top tier, like, I think this might be a top 5 album, but don't want to be a prisoner of the moment.
That's pretty impressive. Well, we did have a fan question about it. One, you know, is he really going to retire? We already addressed that. And if you guys feel ready to rank this in his discography.
The first solo song, I could go up on the track list in a little bit. The first solo song on the joint, I really enjoyed.
The Light?
The Light. Really enjoyed that joint.
Yeah, he did Common joint over.
He has a bunch of dope beat flips. Like the thing with the game, you know, I always used to see people like the game be capping a little bit sometimes. Like,
what you mean, capping?
Because the game will post a picture with him and Tupac. Like, if people like, yo, nigga, this is Photoshop. You get me? Like, but and we've seen the game get emotion. Remember I asked him about that at the Cannabis live episode? I didn't ask him about that to ridicule emotion. It's just that the game is a student of rap. That's why it still boggles my mind him saying this is not his passion.
Yeah.
If you hear the beats he's flipping, if you hear some of the samples he's using, by the way, him and Martian Ambrosius, like, I believe they should do an EP.
Well, you know, real quick, being passionate about something and loving something is 2 different things. I think he loves what he does, but I think when he means passion, explaining from early on, right now his heart isn't in it the way it probably once was, or how we might think it would be, and that says a lot about him as an artist, because like you said, like he flipped one of Bilal's joints. I think that's the one where Mozzie's on there, got a great verse on there.
Hey, Gold Dayton's? I forgot what beat he flipped on that shit. Disgusting. Nigga put Red Cafe on this bitch.
Yeah, that was surprising. The joint with him and Trey Songz, that's my favorite joint.
That 40-ounce joint with Just Live, I don't even know who that is, respectfully, but like, that shit was fire as well.
Even though, you know what, too, was big on this album, and a lot of people, like the joint with him and Nipsey, right? I think that was a really important record, because for all the controversies of what he thinks versus what somebody else thinks, and how he feels about Nipsey and what he's doing, I think that, like, having... Because Nipsey did this, of course, before he passed, and it wasn't like these is old vocals that, you know, he just took and pieced together. It's like Nipsey told his story about how he met Game, you know, his verse. He told a story within his verse. I think that was like one of the most important parts on the album. You know what I mean? Because it leaves everything that everybody thinks, and everybody got their own opinion, but he answered damn near all the questions with that record.
Hey, the Hug the Block song.
Hug the Block is hard.
Hey, like, you could tell, it's one of those joints where, you know, an artist makes a song, and he probably doesn't send it to the people he's really talking to and addressing, and they hear it with the public.
Absolutely.
Because I seen Face respond to this shit too.
For real?
You get me? Yeah, Face on Instagram responded to this shit. Wrote a long ass soliloquy. You feel me?
Oh man, I gotta see it. I didn't see that.
But in reality, you could tell this shit was so personal and honest to his truth.
Right.
And when an artist gets out his truth, you have to respect it because that's where you usually get the best artistry from, at least in my opinion. So honestly, I thought it was really good. You know, for all the antics that, you know, like, like surrounded him over the last couple of months, we're like, oh, this song leaked and he's talking about this and third. You know, we do forget from time to time that, yo, the game, he's a really fucking dope rapper. And, you know, like, he, of course, clout chases and does some antics, but there's some good music.
The music lives up to it, yeah. Especially 15 years in, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a long
check out
time.
that album. We got a couple more about Trippie Redd. So A Love Letter to You 4 is out right now. 22 songs, another long one. Features from Juice WRLD, The Baby, Tory Lanez, and more. Production from Nick Mira, Tez, Taylor Bourne, and others. Follow up to Exclamation, which came out back in August. Blockboy JB really liked this project. Ak, what do you think?
Well, I had said about Trippie's last project, I didn't think people were giving it its proper due. I do believe this, like, I feel like they're about the same. They're both good. They're really good. I feel like, I did a social experiment this time around.
What? You streamed this?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But here's a social experiment. I was seeing how people were reacting. With the news breaking, and you know, I do the midweek projections and then the final sales. I report those.
Right.
When people saw he was #1, oh shit, it's his best album. And that's when I realized motherfuckers wasn't listening.
Right.
Where you were gonna fall on the chart or how many other people were fucking with it, right? Keep in mind, this is another album. By the way, the Game album is 25. This has like 21. It's a lot of tracks. You get me? And you know, we could be honest because, you know, we all know what it is. Like, of course, the artist probably wants those tracks on there too, but like, it's a little bit of a sales play. They throw it on a song with X midweek. Get those sales up, you know, the bundles coming in, all that type of stuff. He got the #1. Congratulations. But I saw people really changing their minds and their opinions about how good the music was. And I don't know if they listened, but just because they saw the #1. Overall, this is a really good project. Again, it's a little bit different. And by the way, when I was in LA like a couple months ago, he played me a couple joints. And, you know, he wanted to, like if you look at the space that Trippie's in, I always told him, I like when you rap. I don't like when you be singing like a goat. Some joints, yeah. You know, like Dark Knight Gummo. Dark Knight, like...
With the first joint on there, Lorraine, like, that joint is fire. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, I see...
It's hit or miss for me.
You really?
It's hit, like, well, it's singing because sometimes it's like, yo, bro, you dragging that note too much.
I told you, I was late to the Trippie Redd bandwagon. I definitely was late to the Trippie Redd bandwagon. But, like, it's certain joints on here that, like, I don't... With last year, I wasn't a big fan of him singing, but this year is like, it sounds a little bit better. One thing I've noticed about Trippie is his consistency. I think that he's found a way to kind of train his audience. Whereas, like, for you to drop 2 albums in 1 year, like, remember when dropping 2 albums in 1 year was the craziest thing? Like, he's dropped 2 albums this year. How many? He dropped 2 last year too, right?
4 projects in 15 months.
Right.
Wow.
But the thing about it is like his numbers have risen every time he's dropped. And they haven't risen because of his name being crazy in the media, nothing or no bullshit going on. His name is risen and his artistry is risen because people is actually fucking with his music.
Yeah, he had again, I do believe he made this more for his core fan base more than like chasing. Like, of course he had a bunch of features, but like he made songs that people that fuck with him would like. Not some shit like, yo, let me just try to get the #1 song. I think it's like a pretty good project that's put together. Like, even still, I'll probably remove a couple songs. You know, I do like the joint with, of course, Melly and Juice WRLD, the 6 Kiss song. That's the one they're pushing as a single.
That song's kind of odd for me.
What, you didn't like it?
The only thing that's
the intro's a little like,
No, the thing that's odd for me about the record is like, when I see features on albums, I usually want to hear like the best verse, but it's like all these niggas is singing about killing. So it's just kind of odd. Like, but rapping about killing is a little bit different than singing about killing. So it just kind of strikes you a little bit different. That's what was odd for me.
So on that note, YNW Melly.
Yeah, oh yeah. And by the way, I do like the joint with him and Young Boy. Young Boy is killing it these days, yo.
Okay, all right. So Melly also dropped his project, Melly versus Melvin. So this is the follow-up to We All Shine, which dropped back in January. Ike is a big fan of that project. Production from Murder Beats, Chop Squad, YNG, Josh, and more. Official debut album now. So
Don't know the difference, but yo, this is fire. I'm telling y'all, this is fire. Hey, listen, it took me a couple of listens. By the way, you know, it's always unfortunate when an artist either passes away or is incarcerated where you got to put their projects together. So their team is doing it. So sometimes there might be a lack of cohesion where they could have may have gone back and put additional vocals or even interludes that really connect the project and like letting the fan know the experience. That may be missed, but I got to say, yo, songs like Suicidal of this joint, I love. Bang Bang, I love. 100K, I love. By the way, 223s with Glock 9, that came out before that was a single. I do have to say, for someone who's locked up, it shows that his music is still connecting. You might not be into the singing stuff, but it's one of those things where like there's like some realness with like the music he's making. Also, unfiltered and pure emotion. Like you don't see niggas talking super gangster shit and be willing and super quote unquote not quote unquote pause vulnerable when it comes to like you know even singing and expressing their feelings for a woman.
okay.
And he does both, and I think he does it well. Only thing with this, you know, some of the lines on here, I wish they edited a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna help his case, man.
It's a little too rough for you.
Hey,
No. I love it. I don't know if the judge is gonna like that, but let's move on. It's good though. Y'all gotta check this out.
I'll check it out.
And I hope he has more music coming out, but
You need more music still?
yeah, well, next year.
Like,
Nigga
you
dropped
just
2
dropped an
albums this
album.
year.
Like, what else do you want
No,
from
not
him?
for this year. I need more next year.
Next
Some
year is
other
next
shit
month.
to do with. Yeah.
Well, not like
Next decade. Next decade?
no. Just give me something like around like July, and I'm good.
Okay. Yo, you want to
July.
take us through some numbers real quick?
Hey, well, you know, for the albums we just spoke about, Trippie Redd, A Love Letter to You 4 actually did get the #1, as we said, selling 104,000 copies first week. We had some of the usual suspects kind of round out the top 10. Hollywood Bleeding by Post Malone, that was at #4. Melly's album, Melly versus Melvin, actually came in at #8, selling 43,000. Summer Walker, Over It, it was at #10 with 39,000 sold. So it was a pretty productive week for the debut albums, and the rest of the usual suspects are still in the mix.
So Walker's doing so good.
Yeah.
She's doing so good for somebody who doesn't want to tour and all that. She's doing really good.
We should have a topic about her sometime. Because when I look on social media, people are like, oh, I see a lot of people criticizing her, but her music is doing really well.
No, her
doing
music is
really
great. No, she says she's dealing with anxiety and all that stuff. It's
Can't knock
it's
that.
fine.
She
Yeah,
gotta
you want
read
to take time
Charlamagne's
off to
book.
take care of
That's what she gotta
yourself.
do. And she dealing with anxiety.
Okay, man. So yesterday we talked about young Ro and Blueface going back and forth over him deciding to not spend his advance on a chain. They tried to talk this out in DMs, but yesterday young Ro posted the property that he bought for his mom and then took another shot.
I love you, Moms. I'm not gonna put you out like Blueface did his mama. Hey, man. I ain't gonna put you out like Blueface did his mama.
So apparently after this, he also slid into Blueface's sister's DMs with some heart emojis. She exposed them, said, I understand buying a house before a chain, but now you and your mom is roommates. Meek jumped on Twitter to ask everyone to relax and stop gassing them up and encouraging them to beef.
Yeah, like, this shit is going way further than it should have. I don't, even like I said with Blueface, I don't think like that he said anything to disrespect him. You know what I mean? If he felt disrespected, that's another thing. But like, now he's reaching out, like DMing his sister. Like, regardless to what situation he might have had with his sister, that's still his sister. Like, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure, regardless of what they went through, she don't hate her brother.
Yeah.
She's not going, oh yeah, let me fuck with you because I had this problem with my brother. Like, it's going way too far. Like, I commended young Ro, and I still do for him saying what he said to spark this whole thing off. But I think now it's messy for absolutely no reason, because he's trying to take advantage of the situation, and it's not a situation to really take advantage of.
Right.
You know?
Blueface had told him, this is how you get your followers up. Now he's doing too much to get the followers up. Hey, unfortunately, like, here's the thing. I do think Ro felt a type of way. And whether he really said it, when Blueface mentioned his mom and his grandma, these are real situations to young Ro. Yeah. And when he said, the change is whatever. I think we as fans, we care about the change shit. I do think Ro was like, nigga, you really gonna talk about my mom, my grandmother? When, yeah, I get it. I said that. Yeah. But you don't talk about that. You don't really know our circumstances. I do think that's why young Ro is going at Blueface like this. I do believe reaching out to his sister was like, I kind of got the, yo, I ain't gonna do you like mama ain't gonna do you like Blueface did his mama. I get that. But I do feel like reaching out to his sister is kind of like getting a little bit too trolly and kind of messy, because you never know. But I do think he's taking advantage of the moment. I'm just hoping that it ends here. And also, Meek Mill got to realize, like, these are young artists that kind of going back and forth. Of course, you as an OG, you want to make sure it doesn't go too far. But I do believe, I'm not going to lie, there's not a marketing budget that Meek Mill could have had that would have benefited young Ro more than this.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do.
He got to drop a song, though.
He got to drop something. But not only that, like, another thing that Meek said, where he was like, yo, like, stop writing Meek Mill artists. You know what I mean? It's like when any artist starts tripping on anybody, nobody says like the parent label that they signed to. So it's like, he's like, I'm not in none of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Not directly.
He can't escape that, though.
Yeah, he can't escape that. I'm just saying, it's like that is a point to be made as well. It's like, you know, if you sign to Republic, nobody's going to say, whoever such and such runs Republic Artists is out here doing this. You know what I'm saying? They don't even associate the label. They just write the name. So when you're signed or affiliated with another artist, then they try to throw you in there like you a part of the bullshit. That's
so it's much easier to be a faceless corporation.
Right.
Well,
absolutely. See,
what Meek's going to realize is that, like, whether they say Meek Mill's artist or Dream Chasers artist, no one's talking about young Ro unless you're connected. That's one of the reasons why he signed to you. You're giving him that relevance. Because if it's any other rapper who could have been rapper Z and then Blueface, we probably cover what Blueface said and then rapper Z. That's just how the media goes. The media is looking for relevance on both sides. Blueface, of course, is Blueface. Now they're like, who's young Ro? Now at this point, the story has kind of gotten a little further. You don't still have to keep rehashing like Meek Mill's artist, but
I just hope they just stop it.
At first, you know.
Young Ro, you got better things to do. You could go help your mom furnish that house now. Holiday sales. It's time.
You gotta drop a song, man.
And drop a song. That's it. It's the end of this one. Any final thoughts, my friends? Oh, Wayne has a new weed company. It's great. Promises the best high of your life. Send some this way. And that's it. Now that's our show for today.
Shouts out to Wayne.
Hey, there been mad cannabis companies like hit me up like, yo, hey, listen, we'll
don't waste your time with academics.
No, I'm really throwing it out there, maybe to y'all aficionados, if y'all are, is that like, I do feel like there's like a little boom going on.
There is. It's time to
like
get
with stocks and all
like
that, cannabis and shit like that.
100.
Like, what Wayne is doing or whatever else, is it getting too saturated too quick?
No. Now is the time. Now is the time to invest.
Yeah, think about when cigarettes first started. Like, you know,
taking it back. Way back
at the end of the day, there was still like 4 brands still popping.
I know, but it's like, I'm pretty sure tobacco, just period. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure anybody, when tobacco first started, everybody was trying to get in how they could. Especially if you a person with a name and you selling weed. I mean, everybody, I wouldn't say everybody has the same weed, but it's like that.
But they're going to have their brands and think about besides the stocks and stuff like that, people are going to start developing different apps as things get legalized in more states. So yeah, it's definitely not too saturated.
I ain't gonna lie, somebody offered me some wild shit, but like, I did my Nas shit. Well, at least.
Which was?
About 50 shit. I don't smoke, so I was like,
that
morally taking a... Morally, yeah.
What are your
morals? Not selling crack.
Yeah,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Peddle something to my community that I'm not
using.
using.
It's marijuana. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Bro, I can't, bro. If it was
it's weed, nigga. What are you talking about?
I don't know, bro.
It's because he's never smoked weed before in his life.
I know.
Weed is not, like, it's not cocaine, brother.
Bro, I can't, like, nigga, I feel like I'm Frank Lucas, one of them niggas, man.
All right, man. Academics, no companies waste your time on
I'm selling lung poison to my
Godfather,
fans.
Spanish Town, Jamaica.
For real, man.
Yeah.
Yo, man, we gotta go. Thank you guys for
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
Everyday
yeah.
Struggle.
Goddamn
Go
thing,
research some
Yeah,
weed
to you,
stocks.
I will.
This nigga, man. I got a conscience. Wait on that.
I got a conscience. He said it's
Conscious?
weed.
Nigga, it's weed. What the fuck?